Welcome to Simply Fun's online school of playology. Today, we're going to build words with problem-solving skills and a little bidding luck in Simply Fun's Bid-A-Letter. Bid-A-Letter is for ages 12 and up, and you can play it with 2 to 6 players. Utilizing our vocabulary at any age helps keep our reading skills fresh, and Bid-A-Letter is a great way to challenge our knowledge of word composition, including spelling. For our younger learners, Bid-A-Letter allows them to see and hear how words change as letters are added, helping with phonetic sounds. In every Bid-A-Letter box, you'll find 63 neon-colored letter tiles, happily missing the letters Q and X, which regularly thwart even the most talented wordsmith. 6 two-tiered letter tile holders to hold your letters and keep track of potential words you may build. 4 word chain markers to indicate the direction of word chains. 1 tiebreaker token, and 1 handy storage bag. To set up the game, first decide how many players will be playing and position them so that the letter tile holders cannot be seen by other players. For example, 4 players would be set up like this. For 3 to 6 players, give all the players a letter tile holder and have each secretly select 10 letter tiles from the storage bag. Players should immediately place their letters on their letter tile holders, making sure other players do not see them. The player who will go first chooses 1 letter tile from the storage bag and places it in the center of the play field. To begin play, all players look at the letter tile in the center. In this case, it's a B, and then review the tiles on their holders. Each then chooses a letter to bid for a chance to build a word. Players bid by revealing their letters all at once, and the one with the letter that comes first in the alphabet goes first. Now, how do you build a word chain? On your turn, you will place the letter you bid with to build, expand, or change a word chain, which is a string of letters that spells part of a word and is marked by a word chain marker. To build, start a word by placing a letter tile in front of or above an existing letter or word chain, either vertically or horizontally, to create a new word. Place a word chain marker in the direction of the word and say the word out loud. If, as in our example, the beginning letter is E, you may place a B next to the E, place the marker on it, and say bell. Note that the word is not yet complete and can change when another player adds a letter to it. To expand, build on an existing word chain by adding the next letter to a word. For example, you might place the letter L next to the B and the E, like this. To change, modify an existing word chain by adding a letter that actually creates a different word than what was originally stated. Here, you might not have an L, but you do have a T. So you place it next to the L, as shown, and the new word becomes belt. There are several rules for placing letter tiles and marking word chains. A word chain must contain 2 or more letters. Single-letter words like A or I are not allowed. You can't use proper names, abbreviations, or contractions, like can't. You can add a new first letter, but it must be able to build both the existing word and a new word. For example, you might put a V under the E on belt and say the word even, and place a different word chain marker going vertically, like this. You can also create 2 new words with 1 letter. For example, if you place an O below the B and before the V as shown, you could begin the words boil and oven, which you'd say out loud, and add another word chain marker indicating 3 active word chains, like this. Only consecutive touching letters are included in a word chain that is said out loud. If there is a gap, like the one here between the V and the U, you could still say the word movie and ignore the U after the gap. You would adjust the yellow marker as shown. You can place a letter tile between 2 chains to fill a gap and say the new word aloud at any time, even if there are already 4 word chains in play. For example, you could place an A between the E and the R, as shown here, to create the word ear, but simply leave it unmarked. At this time, no player may build, expand, or change off the E or the R horizontally, or off the A vertically in this unmarked chain. Now, a word on penalty letters. If a player is unable to play a letter, for example, J in this case, he must remove all the letter tiles from the longest word chain in the game and keep the last half of the letters as a penalty. For example, the word belt is the longest chain here, so the player would remove the letters in belt Take the L and T to place on his tile holder and put the remaining letters, B and E, into the storage bag. Then adjust the chain markers. Single letters like this S remain on the field but lose their chain marker. The play area now looks like this, and players must resume play, according to the rules, with the letters left on the field. The J is played, and luckily it also touches the single S. This earns the player the chance to discard one of the penalty tiles they recently collected from their personal tile holder. A round is finished when all the players have played one letter from their holders, and a new bidding round begins. Rounds are repeated until a player plays all his letter tiles and wins the game. For shorter games, you may choose a time limit, and the player with the fewest tiles at the end of the allotted time is the winner. With Simply Fun's Bid-A-Letter, if you play your tiles right, you could find out what life is like at the top of the word chain.